Post 1. I'm a 33-year-old mom, and I feel like I handed my kids to a monster I didn't know I had in my family. My husband, Jake, is 35. We have 3 kids: our older daughter, 8, our son, 5, and our younger daughter, 3. Jake's mom, Linda, is 62. We don't go away much. Between work, school, and life, most of our vacations are long weekends at home where the kids stay up too late and eat popcorn on the couch. So, when one of Jake's college friends invited us to an out of town, no kids wedding, it felt huge. It wasn't some random party. Jake was in the wedding party. The couple had made it clear there would be late nights, a lot of drinking, and nothing kid friendly. The venue was several hours away. The plan: leave Friday morning, come back Sunday evening. 2 nights. We debated childcare. My sister has a newborn. My parents aren't in the picture. That left Linda. Linda has a flair for drama, but she's also the grandma with cookies and Easter dresses who cries at school concerts. Not cartoon evil, just intense. Over the years, I've learned to filter her. When we asked if she'd like the kids for the weekend, she lit up. Finally, she said, real time with my grandbabies, not just rush dinners when everyone's tired. There was an edge to it. She made comments like, back in my day, we didn't dump our kids to go party, then laughed them off. I filed it under her usual guilt-flavored commentary. We set her up with a binder on the counter. Bedtimes, favorite snacks, the fact that our son still gets nightmares, emergency contacts, a signed note for the pediatrician. On the front, I wrote in big letters, we will be home Sunday evening around 7. The morning we left, the kids were excited. We framed it as Grandma Weekend. Our older daughter had a list of board games. Our son was already bargaining for extra screen time. Our younger daughter toddled around chanting, Gamma House, Gamma House. Linda hugged the kids, then us. She held on to Jake longer than necessary and whispered, don't worry, I'll take care of them. Try not to forget you have kids while you're off having fun, in that half-joking, half-accusing tone. I kissed my babies, reminded them we'd be back Sunday, and we drove away. The wedding was nice. Sleeping through the night without a child climbing into our bed felt wrong. I checked my phone constantly. Linda sent a few photos. Pancakes, movie night, our older daughter baking. The kids looked happy. I told myself to relax. Sunday evening, we pulled into Linda's driveway right on time. I grabbed our overnight bag, actually excited to walk in and see their faces. I'd missed them so much my chest hurt. Linda opened the door before we knocked. Oh, you're early, she said, even though we weren't. Her lipstick was too bright, her smile too fixed. They're in the living room. They've been emotional. The way she said emotional made my neck prickle. I stepped in with my mommy's home voice ready. Our older daughter saw me first. She froze. Her eyes went huge. Instead of running to me, she backed up so fast she hit the couch. Her face crumpled. You're not real, she whispered. Grandma said you died. Our son burst into panicked sobs. You were in a car crash, he cried. You burned. Grandma said you burned and went to heaven, and we live here now. Our younger daughter clung to my leg, wailing, no die, no die. My brain stalled. There is a specific cold that goes through you when you realize your children have already lived your death once in their heads. They've felt abandoned, mourned you, imagined a life without you, all while you were taking wedding photos. I dropped my bag and grabbed our older daughter. I'm here, I said over and over. I'm real, I'm okay, Daddy's okay, we're okay. She clung so hard her nails dug in. Our son latched onto Jake's legs, screaming that he didn't want us to go back to heaven. Our younger daughter kept crying and touching my face like she was checking if I was solid. I looked over their heads at Linda. She rolled her eyes. Oh, for goodness sake, she said. They're taking it too literally. I was just preparing them. Teaching them anything can happen. You could have had an accident. I honestly thought I'd misheard. You told them we were dead, I said. My voice sounded flat and far away. I told them, she said calmly, that if something happened to you, they would be safe with me. Children need to understand that. You're not going to live forever. Grandma said you crashed on the highway, our older daughter said into my shoulder. She said the police called her and she had to come get us. She showed us where our beds would go when we moved in, our son sobbed. She said we'd change schools. That's when I realized this wasn't one bad phrase. She'd spun them an entire alternate life where we died and she was the hero. My heart was pounding in my ears. How long? I asked. Did you let them believe we were dead? She shrugged, like I'd asked about overcooked chicken. A few hours, maybe half a day. Time is fuzzy with kids. And before you fly off the handle, remember, they were fine. We baked cookies, we talked. They need to learn life is fragile. You two could have wrapped your car around a tree on the way there. Then where would they be? At least they know now Grandma will always be there. Something in me shifted from shock to cold rage. You traumatized them, I said. You didn't prepare them. You made them live through losing us. For no reason. Jake had been quiet, crouched with our son. He stood up. What is wrong with you? He asked. Why would you think that's okay? Oh, don't you start, she snapped. You're as bad as she is. Overreacting to everything. When you were little, we talked about death. Nobody whisked you to a therapist for every feeling. Kids today are coddled. A little reality won't kill them. And maybe if you didn't run off to play at being single young people, they wouldn't be so scared of losing you. I felt sick, like she'd grabbed my worst guilty thought, that we were selfish for going, and weaponized it. We left them with you because we trusted you, I said. We told them we'd be back Sunday. We wrote it down. You decided you knew better and told them we were dead. They asked when you were coming back, she said. I told them you weren't. For all you knew, you might not have. You want me to lie? You didn't forget a phrase, I snapped. You invented a car crash. You told them we burned. You walked them around this house and planned their new lives. That's not reality. That's a story you liked starring you. Our older daughter flinched. Our son started sobbing again. I realized this was happening in front of them and forced myself to stop. We're leaving, I said. Get their things. Linda folded her arms. Don't you dare make me the villain here, she said. I took time off work for you. I fed them, bathed them, loved them. One little mistake and suddenly I'm Satan. Jake packed bags while the kids refused to let go of us. We took them home. That first night, all 5 of us slept in our bed. Anytime I shifted, our older daughter jerked awake to make sure I was there. Our son peed the bed twice. Our younger daughter whimpered in her sleep. The next morning, while they watched cartoons in a blanket fort, Jake and I sat at the kitchen table. I'm done, I said. She's not seeing them again. I don't care if she meant well. I will not hand them back to the person who told them we burned to death. He looked wrecked. I know, he said. She's my mom. And I am their mother, I said. My job is to protect them. From anyone, even her. She doesn't get near them again. We told Linda on speakerphone that afternoon. You're not seeing the kids, I said. You're not calling, texting, or dropping by. You told them we were dead. You watched them grieve us for hours, and you still don't think you did anything wrong. Until you understand what you did and take responsibility, you are not part of their lives. She laughed. You can't do that, she said. You don't have the right to take my grandchildren away. That's exactly what I have the right to do, I said. You abused their trust. You terrified them. We trusted you, and you broke that. Jake stayed quiet, but he didn't argue. She went straight to guilt. I raised you alone, she told him. I sacrificed everything. And this is how you repay me? Letting her turn you against your own mother because I made one comment that upset the precious babies? It wasn't one comment, I said. It was a whole story about our deaths. You can play the victim all you want, but you're not doing it in front of my kids. She hung up. Since then, it's been relatives calling, guilt-tripping texts, messages about how she's sick with grief because she lost her grandchildren. We blocked her number, but she cycled through new ones and used relatives as delivery systems. Meanwhile, our older daughter asks every night, Are you going to die when you go to work? Our son won't let us leave the room until he's fully asleep. Our younger daughter cries if I step outside to take the trash without telling her. I feel rage, heartbreak, and guilt all at once. Rage at Linda, heartbreak for my kids, guilt that I ever left them with her. Jake agrees what she did was wrong. He's been supportive, but I can see how torn he is. People keep telling me she just went too far with a lesson and you can't keep them away forever over a misunderstanding. From where I'm sitting, there's nothing misunderstood about making three little kids live through their parents' deaths for fun. So, am I the jerk for banning my mother in law from seeing my children or talking to me after she told them we were dead while we were away for a wedding? Update 1 to 3 months later. It's been 3 months since the weekend, and my kids still check if I'm alive every time I leave a room. That sounds dramatic, but it's almost literal. If I say, I'm running to the store, our older daughter appears at the door 5 minutes later. You're coming back, right? Our son cries if Jake is 10 minutes late from work. Our younger daughter drags her little chair to the front window whenever a car drives by, just in case it's us coming back from heaven. The first week, I kept telling myself, it's fresh, it will settle. It hasn't, it's just changed shape. Thanksgiving came and went like a blur, and the fear came with us into December like an extra body in the house. Nightmares are constant. Our older daughter dreams about phones ringing and no one answering. Our son has car crash dreams. Thank you, Linda, and wakes up sobbing that our car fell into fire. Our younger daughter doesn't have the words, but sleeps plastered to my back with her hand hooked in my shirt. We got them into therapy quickly. Our pediatrician didn't even blink when I explained. She just referred us to a child psychologist. The psychologist had that professional, what the hell face she tried to hide. The kids now have weekly appointments. Our older daughter talks. Our son acts out crashes with toy cars. Our younger daughter colors and echoes the other two. Watching them unpack a story I didn't write is like sitting outside a room while they pull glass out of their own skin. Meanwhile, Linda hasn't stopped. She flooded Jake's phone with long voicemails about how she never meant to hurt anyone and how I'm overdramatic and turning her son against her. When he didn't engage, she moved to texts from new numbers. I can't eat, I can't sleep, not seeing my babies. You'll regret letting her take your mother away from you. One mistake in 35 years, and suddenly I'm dangerous. Then his aunt called, then his cousin. Then some woman from church messaged me on Facebook with, I heard you're keeping your kids from their grandmother over a misunderstanding. As someone who lost my mom, you don't want to let pride steal time. I replied once, she told my children we had died in a car crash and they now lived with her. They are in therapy because of it. This is about protecting them, not punishing her. No response. I'm sure in Linda's version, I told them life is fragile has replaced, I told them your parents burned and now you live with grandma. Jake shields me from some of it, but I see his shoulders go up every time his phone buzzes. I know some relatives call me controlling and cold. The implication, good DILs bend, good mothers forgive. Real trauma is bruises. There's a tiny, ugly voice in my head that still whispers, you shouldn't have gone to that wedding. Rationally, I know 2 nights away in years doesn't mean we deserve this. Emotionally, every time our older daughter clutches my shirt, it feels like proof that I indulged in something selfish, and the universe collected interest. Linda leans into that. In one of her rants to Jake, she said, if you two hadn't been off pretending you don't have kids, none of this would have happened. I'm the only one who stayed. He's not made of stone. He grew up with that voice. He hangs up angry, but it sticks. He's been great in many ways. He came to the first therapy appointment. He apologizes to the kids. Grandma was wrong. We should have protected you better. He hasn't taken them to see her. When I say, she is not coming here, he agrees. But I can feel the rope being pulled. We had our first real fight a couple of weeks ago. After a brutal bedtime full of, what if you die in your sleep? Questions, he'd just listened to another voicemail where Linda cried that she doesn't want to die without seeing her grandchildren. He said quietly, she keeps saying she's sorry. Maybe, eventually, we could do a supervised visit, here, with us, just so the kids know we're not cutting her out forever. It felt like the floor moved. Do you actually think she understands what she did? I asked. She still calls it a lesson. She's only sorry we got mad. Supervised or not, I am not putting them in the same room with the person who watched them mourn us. He rubbed his face. She's my mom, he said. Not as an excuse, but as a confession. Every day she calls me sobbing. I know she did wrong, but she's not some stranger we can ignore forever. She's the woman who raised me. And I am the woman raising your children, I said. The one holding them while they scream that they don't want us to die. I am not doing that again so your mother can feel better. He went quiet. I'm not saying now, he said. I just don't know if never is realistic. That word sat between us. Realistic or not, I said, my answer right now is no. She's not seeing the kids. If you want a relationship with her, that's your choice. I won't stop you, but I am not opening that door again for them. He hasn't seen her in person yet. To his credit, he's held that line so far, but I know they talk. I know she cries and coughs and brings up her blood pressure and says I hate her. And while that plays out, my kids live with her lesson. Our older daughter refuses sleepovers because what if my mom dies while I'm gone? Our son lines toy cars on the windowsill to watch for crashes. Our younger daughter cries if we're 5 minutes late at daycare pickup. This is the part no one calling me a gatekeeper sees. Her choice still echoing in our house every night. No lawyers, no police, no restraining orders. Just one firm decision. She has no access to me and no access to the kids when they're with me. What Jake ultimately does is his wrestle. Mine is making sure that next time someone tells my kids a story about me, it's not that I burned to death while they were eating pancakes. Update 2. First Christmas without her. We just got through our first big holiday without Linda, and I feel like I ran an emotional marathon in dress clothes. In the before times, Christmas defaulted to Linda's. Overcooked turkey, too many scented candles, passive-aggressive comments wrapped in tinsel. This year I said no. We're staying home, I told Jake in November. If you want to see her, that's up to you. But I am not taking our kids to the house where they were told we burned to death. He agreed. He even sounded relieved, and for a while I thought we might coast. Then the guilt texts kept coming, and I could see the strain settle into his jaw like a habit. As December went on, Linda's messages ramped up. All I want for Christmas is a hug from my grandbabies. This might be my last Christmas. You never know at my age. You're punishing me for loving them too much. On Facebook, she posted, First Christmas alone. I gave my whole life to my son, and now his wife has decided I'm toxic and is keeping my grandkids away. Hug your families tight. Some people don't know what they have. Hundreds of likes, dozens of comments. You don't deserve this. She'll regret it when you're gone. Kids belong with grandparents at Christmas. I blocked her, but still doom-scrolled the comments for a couple of days. It felt like watching strangers vote on whether I'm allowed to protect my children. Christmas Eve at home was sweet and fragile. New pajamas, hot chocolate, a movie. Our older daughter kept asking, You're sleeping here, right? Our son asked, What if Santa's sleigh crashes? A question I've never heard from a 5-year-old. We got them to bed. Stockings filled, presents under the tree. Around midnight, Jake's phone buzzed. It's Mom, he said. We stood there in the dark, the screen glowing. You don't have to answer, I said. It'll be the same script. You can call tomorrow. He hesitated, then put it face down. I'll deal with it tomorrow. I wish that had been the end. Christmas morning was messy and joyful. For a few hours, I forgot there was a woman across town rewriting me as the Grinch. Then my phone buzzed. Jake's aunt. Are you seriously not bringing the kids to your MILs for even an hour? She's devastated. This isn't fair to her. I put the phone down and just breathed. Jake saw my face. Who is it? He asked. Your aunt, I said. Wondering why I'm depriving your mother of her hallmark moment? He sighed and took his phone to the bedroom. I played Lego with the kids and listened to the rise and fall of his voice through the wall. When he came back, his shoulders were tight. She told them you forbade me from bringing the kids, he said, that you'd leave me if I even tried. My chest went hot. What? We literally talked about this. I told you if you want to see her, you can. I know, he said quickly. I told them that. They don't care. In their heads, you're the puppet master and I'm the poor son who got stolen. It should have felt vindicating. It didn't. It felt like being erased. My actual words and exhaustion don't matter as long as the role they want is controlling wife. I am so tired of being the villain in a story I didn't write, I said. I didn't tell her to traumatize our kids. I'm the one cleaning it up. How did I become the problem? They're wrong, he said, but it's easier for them to blame you than admit she crossed a line they never would. Then he said the thing I'd been dreading. She's alone, he said quietly. She sent a picture of her table, one place setting. I know she created this, but she's still my mom sitting by herself on Christmas. I saw what this was doing to him. He doesn't want to hurt me or her, but someone has to be unhappy, and he feels like he has to choose. You can go see her, I said. It hurt to say it, but I meant it. Take leftovers, bring cookies, I can handle bedtime. He stared. No, then she'll think she's won. This isn't a game, I said. You're miserable. She's miserable. The kids are okay for 5 minutes. If going over for an hour makes your life a little quieter, then go. He went. He told the kids he was dropping something off. Our older daughter looked anxious. I told her, Daddy's coming back. This is his home. He was gone 2 hours. When he came back, he looked drained. How was it? I asked. She cried the whole time, he said. Called you heartless, said you're poisoning the kids against her, then made a big show of, at least you came back to your mother, and kept hinting I should bring the kids next time. What did you say? I told her no, he said. I told her she doesn't see them until she admits what she did was wrong and stops calling it a lesson. She said she's not going to grovel to a child and her mother. Then she started clutching her chest. I honestly couldn't tell if it was real or a performance, and I hated that. He sat down. I feel like a bad son and a bad father no matter what, he said. If I cut her off, I'm abandoning her. If I let her back in, I'm failing them. I know it feels like that, I said. But there's a difference between disappointing your mother and protecting your kids. One is painful. One is necessary. He just said quietly, she kept calling them my babies, not your kids. My babies, like we're extras. That told me everything. She isn't apologizing because she understands the harm. She's crying because her favorite accessory was taken. Our first Christmas without her was objectively lovely. The kids laughed. We made new traditions, but underneath it, I could feel the fault lines. She's still out there telling a story where I'm the heartless gatekeeper and she's the wronged grandmother. Jake is trying to stand in the middle without splitting in half. I'm hanging on to the belief that protecting our kids from someone who taught them a lesson by killing us off in their heads is not cruelty. This isn't a one-time boundary. It's going to be a long grind, and I'm starting to realize I might not just lose a mother-in-law, I might lose parts of my husband too. Update 3. Phone calls and cracks. I kept telling myself that if we held the line long enough, Linda would either offer a real apology or get bored and back off. Instead, the pressure found a different crack. As the months went by, the kids looked less raw on the surface. Our older daughter could sleep in her own bed most nights. Our son's nightmares dropped from nightly to once or twice a week. Our younger daughter stopped watching the front door like a dog. Jake started taking more calls in the garage, and I could feel him slipping toward just a small contact compromises, as if the right tiny concession would make his mother stop bleeding guilt all over our lives. Linda shifted from rage to martyrdom. Her messages to Jake became, I'm sick, I don't know how much time I have. I haven't stopped crying since you took my babies. I'm sorry you took it that way. I thought we were united. Then one Tuesday, our older daughter came home from school too bright. I was in the kitchen. She dropped her backpack and said a little too casually, Grandma says hi. My brain did a record scratch. From where? I asked. On the phone, she said. Daddy called her when we were at the park on Sunday. She cried a lot. She said she misses us. My stomach dropped. Did you talk to her? I asked, keeping my voice even. She nodded, looking guilty. I'm not mad at you, I said immediately. You didn't do anything wrong. I just need to know what happened. She took a breath. We were at the park. Daddy's phone rang. He talked, then he gave it to me and said Grandma wanted to say hi. She cried and said, Your mommy is very angry with me and I'm being punished and I don't know why. She said she never meant to scare us. She kept asking if I still loved her. That last part made something in me go ice cold. She asked if you still loved her, I repeated. What did you say? I said I don't know, she whispered, because I don't know. I don't know if I should. I don't want you to be mad at me, but I also don't want Grandma to be sad. I have never hated Linda more than in that moment. Not for contacting her, but for dumping an adult moral dilemma in an 8-year-old's lap. Comfort the person who hurt you or betray the person protecting you. When Jake got home, I waited until the kids were in their rooms. Did you put our daughter on the phone with your mother? I asked. He froze. I was going to tell you, he said. When? I asked. Before or after she told me Grandma asked if she still loved her? He sat down. It was just a phone call, he said. We were at the park, Mom called, she begged to hear their voices. I thought supervised phone contact couldn't hurt. I was right there. No, I said. What you thought was that if you didn't give her something, she'd keep making your life miserable. So you gave her our child. That's not fair, he said. She's my mother. I'm trying to find middle ground. You've built this wall, and I'm the one stuck on both sides. That wall is the only thing between our kids and a woman who thinks their terror is a teachable moment, I said. You don't get to chip away at it because your phone is blowing up. She's not going to live forever, he said. Do you want them growing up with no relationship with their grandmother? They have a relationship, I said. It's called trauma. He flinched. She didn't just say accidents happen. She made them live in a world where we were dead. They had to build a whole new reality with her as the only adult. You think a few tearful calls fixes that? You think listening to her sob and say she's being punished is good for them? He looked torn. He loves our kids. He loves his mother in that complicated way you love someone who fed and hurt you. I'm trying not to lose everyone, he said. You want me to cut her off. She wants me to pretend nothing happened. I feel like I'm choosing which parent to orphan. Something in me softened for him, even as I stayed furious. I'm not asking you to stop loving her, I said. I'm asking you to stop handing her access to the parts of you that belong to our kids first. Visit her if you want. You're an adult, but do not put our children in the path of her manipulation. Not on the phone, not in person. What if I'm with them? He asked. What if I never leave them alone with her? Being present doesn't stop her from saying things, I said. You were at the park and still handed her the phone so she could tell our daughter she's the victim. We went in circles. Finally, I said, I will never be okay with our kids being around her in any format as long as she thinks she did nothing wrong. If you decide to bring them anyway, you're choosing that over my trust. I need you to understand that. For how long? He asked. Forever? For as long as she can't say, I hurt you and I'm sorry, and here's how I'll never do that again, I said. Until then, I'm not budging. He didn't promise he wouldn't. He didn't say he would. We landed in a miserable gray, I don't know what I'm capable of yet. Since that conversation, he hasn't put them on the phone with her again, as far as I know. But he takes more calls in the garage. He comes back saying things like, she's calming down and she just wants to be involved. He's begun slipping in. You know she's not all bad, as if I ever said she was. I said what she did was unforgivable. Different thing. Here's the part I'm ashamed to admit. The idea of being the one holding the line while the person beside me gets worn down scares me more than Linda does. I can handle her anger. I can handle being the villain in her story. I don't know if I can handle waking up one day and realizing my husband quietly chose a version of peace with his mother that requires me to swallow what she did. But one thing is clear now in a way it wasn't before. There will be no more. Maybe it wasn't that bad. I saw what not that bad looked like in my kids' eyes. I'm not letting anyone talk me out of what I watched happen. She told them we were dead. They believed her. Everything else is noise. Update 4, just over a year later. It's been just over a year since the weekend my kids thought we were dead, and I've realized something ugly but clarifying. I can't control everyone else in this story, only myself. The kids are better and not at the same time. Our older daughter still needs to know where I am, but she doesn't cling like before. She's back to occasional sleepovers with exactly one friend and a detailed safety plan. Our son hasn't had a full crash nightmare in about a month, but he tenses up when we drive near Linda's exit. Our younger daughter, 4, remembers crying more than she remembers why. Therapy has helped a lot. The psychologist gave the kids language for scared, tricked, mad, and gave us language for leaving without triggering panic. What she cannot do is control what happens when I'm not there. A few weeks ago, Jake came home from work, took one look at me and said, "Why don't I take them to the park so you can have an hour?" I almost cried from relief. He bundled them up, promised ice cream, and left. I did laundry, dishes, very glamorous me time. An hour later, my phone pinged. A neighbor of Linda's, who I'm Facebook friends with from one old barbecue, sent a picture. Look who I spotted in your MIL's yard. The photo: our older daughter and our son on Linda's swing set. Our younger daughter by the back door, holding a popsicle. Linda beside them, hand on our older daughter's shoulder, smiling. My stomach flipped. 10 minutes later, I heard the car. Jake came in carrying a sleepy younger daughter. The other two trailed behind, sticky and happy. How was the park? I asked. My voice sounded too calm. Good, he said. They're wiped. Did you go anywhere else? I asked. He hesitated. Slight, but there. The park was crowded, he said. Mom lives closer. We just stopped by for a bit. I was with them the whole time. You took them to your mother's house? I said. He shifted our younger daughter. It was an hour, he said. She stayed in the kitchen. I watched every conversation. She didn't say anything weird. They played in the yard. It was fine. Our older daughter hovered in the hall, taking off her shoes in slow motion, listening. Go wash your hands, guys, I said. Dinner soon. When they were gone, I said, You knew I'd say no. That's why you didn't tell me. He exhaled. If I told you, we'd fight before, during, and after, he said. I'm so tired of our life being about my mother. Then why did you hand our life back to her for an hour? I asked. You gave her exactly what she wanted. The kids on her turf with you smoothing it over. She was normal, he said. No weird stories. She apologized to them. She said she loves them and she's sorry she scared them. She apologized, I said. Or did she say, I'm sorry you were scared? Silence. There was my answer. You don't get to unilaterally test if she's safe, I said. Not with our children. Not after everything. That's not your call alone. She's their grandmother, he snapped, and I was there. I'm not stupid. I know what she did. I watched her like a hawk. I'm not sending them there with suitcases. That's not the point, I said. The point is they saw us draw a line to protect them, and you quietly erased it the second it became uncomfortable. Something in his face crumpled. I feel like I'm failing everyone, he said. I can't do another year of this Cold War. Mom calls me sobbing. The kids ask about her. You look like you might walk out every time her name comes up. I'm not threatening to leave, I cut in. I am telling you this, taking them behind my back is how you break trust in a marriage. Not because you love your mother, but because you lied to manage her feelings. We fought in circles. It always came back to the same impossible thing. He wants a world where his mother did something terrible, paid a price, and then everyone hugged it out. I live in the world where our kids' nervous systems don't reset because a year passed. Finally, I stopped trying to make him see it my way and decided what I could live with. I'm done arguing about how you feel about her, I said. You're going to feel guilty no matter what. That's your work. Here's mine. I will not go to her house. I will not invite her here. I will not speak to her. I won't answer calls or messages. If she shows up, I leave. That's my boundary. He opened his mouth. I kept going. If you decide to take the kids, I said, hating the words, you're making that choice as their father. I can't physically stop you. I won't spend 10 years trying. But be clear. You own whatever happens there. You explain it. You repair it. I won't be the one smoothing it over. He looked devastated. So you're washing your hands of it? He asked. No, I said. I'm accepting reality. I can't crawl inside your spine and make you hold the line. I can only model it with my own choices. The kids will see that. They'll know I never pushed them towards someone who hurt them. Since then, an uneasy arrangement has solidified. I'm completely no contact with Linda, blocked everywhere. If we're in the same space, I leave. Jake has resumed contact. Phone calls, Sunday lunches. He doesn't tell me every time. I find out because kids talk. Our older daughter mentions grandma's backyard. Our son comes home with a dollar store toy. That knowledge sits in my chest like a stone. Every time I check in. Did grandma say anything that made you feel weird? Sometimes they shrug. Sometimes our older daughter says, she said you're still mad at her, but she loves you anyway. Sometimes our son says, she cried and said we're her whole reason to live. We take it back to therapy, add it to the pile. From the outside, it probably looks like I've softened. The kids still see their grandmother with their dad. No legal drama. The Facebook meltdowns have calmed. From the inside, it feels like I've accepted the limit of what one person can do against a lifetime of guilt and obligation. I cannot erase Linda. I cannot fix Jake's relationship with her. I can only be the one adult in the room who never pretends what happened was small. Final update 18 months later. It's been about a year and a half since the weekend my kids thought we'd died. The crisis isn't loud anymore. It's just the background hum of our family. The kids are older in ways that hurt. Our older daughter is 9 going on 40. She doesn't ask, "Are you gonna die?" Now. She tracks my movements with Find My Phone and sticky notes on the fridge. When I leave, she stands in the doorway and says, "Text me when you get there," like a tiny spouse. Our son is 6 and our safety officer. He knows emergency numbers, checks smoke detectors, asks waiters if the floor is slippery. He watches every intersection when we drive at night like he can will the other cars away. Our younger daughter is 4 and sunny. The psychologist says that's what it looks like when the story's fuzzy, but the feeling remains. Every so often she chirps, "If you die, can I come to heaven with you?" Between bites of cereal. You learn to answer calmly and cry in the shower. Linda is still around, just not for me. After the blow up over Jake taking them to her house, the rules settled. I am completely no contact with Linda. Jake talks to her regularly. The kids see her about twice a month, always with Jake. I haven't made peace with that. I've just accepted I can't be in every car. Jake lives in polite denial. He will say, if pressed, what she did was wrong, and also, she's apologized, she's trying, we have to move forward. The more tired he is, the more it sounds like her voice. The harassment changed form. No more constant calls or dramatic Facebook essays. Linda learned volume didn't work. Now it's quieter pressure, sending the kids home with framed photos and telling them to put them in their rooms. Telling our older daughter, "I know your mom hates me, but I'll always love her," then looking wounded. Crying to Jake that every day could be my last, loud enough for little ears to hear. She got what she really wanted, her baby boy back, at least partially, and her babies in her orbit again. She never really wanted me. The thing that pushed me to write this last update happened at school. Our older daughter's class did a My Family Hero project. Parents were invited to see the hallway display. I was expecting something like, "My mom makes good pancakes." Her page had a drawing of 3 kids and 2 tall figures, one labeled Mom, the other blank. Her paragraph said, "My hero is my mom because she believes me when I say I'm scared." When I was little, something really bad happened and someone told me my parents were dead. My mom didn't tell me I was overreacting. She took me to a feelings doctor and she stopped letting that person be in charge of me. She still lets me make up my own mind, but she always tells me the truth even when it's hard. I want to be like that when I grow up and help other kids know they're not crazy. I stood there in the hallway with glitter posters and math facts around me and tried not to cry. Her teacher came over and said quietly, "She talked to the school counselor before she wrote it. She wanted you to see it." That project did 2 things in my head. First, it stamped, "You weren't crazy. You didn't invent this." In my daughter's reality, what happened was really bad. In her words, therapy and boundaries counted as protection, not cruelty. Second, it highlighted the gap between how she sees me and how some adults talk about me. That night, I showed Jake. He read it, eyes shiny. "She remembers more than I thought," he said. "She was 8, I said. "You don't forget living through your parents' funeral in your head?" He nodded, then sighed. "Mom would be upset if she saw this," he said. That sent a shot of anger through me. "This isn't about how your mother would feel," I said. "This is about how your daughter feels. She's telling you her reality. You can honor that, or you can tell her, like your mother does, that she's overreacting." He didn't answer. A few days later, he still took the kids there for Sunday lunch. I know because our son told me about Grandma's roast. I went for a walk and let it sit in my chest until it cooled. Here's where I am, 18 months later. I don't trust Linda, and I probably never will. I love my husband, but I don't trust his judgment where his mother is concerned. I trust myself. I'm learning to trust my kids. We talk a lot about people who make your stomach feel tight, about grown-ups who ask you to keep secrets, about not owing anyone your time if they make you feel small or scared, even if they're family. Last Sunday when Jake said, "I'm taking our son and our younger daughter to mom's," our older daughter looked at me and said, "I think I'll stay home and help you with laundry." "You sure?" he asked. Yeah, she said. Grandma makes my stomach feel tight. He opened his mouth, then closed it. Okay, he said. You can stay. That's my win. Not that Linda learned anything. She hasn't. Not that Jake became the iron spined boundary setter I wish he could be. He hasn't. My win is that my oldest child has words for something I didn't know how to name until I was an adult. And she feels safe enough to use them. There's no neat bow. Linda still pops up and causes stress. This will probably keep rippling through my kids' lives in ways I can't predict. But 18 months out, I'm not asking if I'm the jerk anymore. I know I'm not. I'm the one who believed 3 terrified kids when they said, Grandma told us you were dead, and refused to pretend that was anything but what it was.